Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting. Will you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order and open the roll call.
Goodell.
Here.
Slater.
Here.
Scholl.
Here.
Rusher.
Here.
Davis.
Here. We need a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We need a motion to approve the minutes of the November 16th, 2015 regular council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the November investment report and the November treasurer's report.
Move approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we need a motion to approve the claims for November if we don't have any questions.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Under communications, anything from the public in attendance this evening? If not, we'll move on to new business. First up, we need a motion to approve the hiring of Travis, is it
Getkin.
Gedkin, as city administrator effective January 11th, 2016.
Before you guys, let me give you a little bit of background first. So the hiring committee got together, I can't even remember the date now, I shot it to you guys in an email. We interviewed 5 candidates for the position. By far, the consensus of the group was that Travis was the best candidate. Interviewed incredibly well, has got a nice amount of experience. He is really ready to go with everything. By far was the top choice of the committee. I proceeded to check his references. All the professional references came back glowingly. Now, that's normally going to be the case when somebody gives you a list of references. Very satisfied with what they were saying, what his skill set was. He will be a very good fit from everything that I've heard from the professional references. I did take it a little bit deeper than that, and I just wanted to make sure that the people that he worked with had positive things to say about him as well. I did speak to 4 of his department heads. It was spot on from what we were hearing during the interview about his leadership ability, his style, his smarts, the way that he gets the public involved in the process too. A lot of what we were hearing was very positive about public participation. He fully believes in that. He gets himself out there in the public, gets involved. He wants the public to know him, wants to be accessible. And when I got the references back, there was 2 candidates that we were considering for possible second interviews. It was by that point a no-brainer based on the references that this is the person that would be the ideal fit. Then when we as the committee spoke about it again, that's when we said this is the person we should be moving forward with. So that's the background. If you guys have any questions before you take a vote, I'll let you know anything else that I know.
I move we approve. I would second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then we need a motion then to authorize myself to sign an employment agreement for the position of city administrator.
So moved. Second.
Whoa, wait. Dan and John.
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcoming the board.
I'm gonna text him and let him know. He's actually has meetings tonight and he wanted to know when he got the okay.
Wait a second to give him the good news.
Well, he's originally from Iowa, and he's a University of Iowa graduate, and then he got his master's from Drake, so he does have ties to the state, and, you know, so it's a closer move to home for him.
Where's his family?
Dyersville,
Okay, yeah.
just south of Dubuque,
Mhm.
and so I think that was a big selling point for him to relocate closer to home.
And it wasn't that he had his resume out there with a lot of places.
No.
He was looking for the right opportunity, which was very, very appealing as well.
Dyersville motto, you build it
They'll come, right?
Yep, field of dreams.
There you go, yep.
Alrighty, next we're gonna have an HCDA annual report by Alyssa O'Connor. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so in your packets, I just want to refresh your memory for those that might not remember. We do biennial reports every 2 years. Last year was a biennial report, so in the off years, we generally just talk about that calendar year. So this year is a little bit unique. We did conduct a strategic plan. So what you have in front of you is our strategic plan report. I just want to quickly go through a few of the items. I want to make sure that I mention that in addition to some of these new initiatives and programs, we will continue to do the programs, activities, and initiatives that we have been doing for the previous 6 years. So if you look on your report, just a couple things to highlight. Our board was very supportive to identify the need for a community daycare center, investigate potential facilities. So in your packet, you will also find a sheet that has obviously the formal name of the organization as well as the mission statement of Kitty Cat's Child Care and Learning Center. So we are working quite diligently on that project, and that's a new project for us. In addition, Objective 4 is a new program for us, business recognition programming and events. In addition to Objective 5, to assist with efforts to organize a community wellness initiative. Objective 1 under new business recruitment is a recruiting campaign for our commercial spec building, so we will continue to work on that. I also want to highlight on the third page, Objective 2, identify ways to attract new talent. Obviously, we have a unique situation and have for a while, but the board really wants to focus quite heavily on workforce recruitment and how do we make sure that we're attracting and retaining the workforce that we have here. In addition, building an infrastructure, continuing with the Humboldt Business Park development, which you will also find that in your packet as well. It's just a quick overview of the options that we're considering. At this point, the board has made the recommendation that we bid option 2 with option 1 as an alternate. And so we'll open up either 4 or 6 more lots. As Jim mentioned this morning, I think it's important to recognize that the Northwest Industrial Park has just 2 remaining lots. And the Humboldt Business Park is full as we know it today. All of the lots have been sold and developed. So that's a good problem to have, but it's something that we need to keep addressing as we move forward. A leadership program for Humboldt County is another new project for us that's on our strategic report, in addition to a college internship program. And then as we look for ways to identify, to enhance our high school internship program, we will add that soft skill component. So as you can see, that's kind of a quick overview, but we do have a lot of new programs, activities, and initiatives that the board will take on. As you'll see, it is a 5-year strategic plan, but I do want to draw your attention to the completion. As you'll see, a number of those projects are in progress, completed, with a few of them not being started. So we're well on our way for this 5-year strategic plan. Also, in addition to the new programs, the current programs, and direction moving forward, I do want to make sure that I mention that in 2015, we currently have 1 active business recruitment lead, 1 active business expansion project, and the hotel development project, the other flyer that you see. I just sent you about 30 minutes ago an invitation, but this is an invitation to that event, so we are also working on that project in addition to our strategic plan priorities. And then finally, I'd like to draw your attention to the formal request letter. In 2015 alone, we have, and I want to make sure that I mention again this year, HCDA reports statistics only on those projects that we are directly involved in. So if the project did not use our office in any way, we don't report those statistics. So in 2015 alone, we were instrumental in creating 15 new jobs, $3 million in additional capital investment, and $2.5 million in new tactical evaluation. We are requesting $40,000 again in annual support which is the same amount that we have requested for the previous 6 years. I do also want to quickly, last year, as part of our biennial report, I did provide organizational statistics, but with those statistics updated for 2015, since 2010, so the last 6 years we've been tracking this, HCDA has directly contributed to over 20 million in capital investment, created more than 152 new jobs, retained more than 374 jobs, and created more than 12 million in additional taxable valuation. So we appreciate your support. We've had a lot of good years, and Jim is here, I think, on behalf of the board to attest to that, but we do appreciate your support.
And on behalf of the board, first of all, I think, I cover a lot of different communities and work with a lot of development organizations, and Humboldt HCDA is one of the best that I observe. We have a great development director, very aggressive. For a staff of one, she gets a lot done. There's other communities that have multiple staff and probably don't do as much as we do. So again, we greatly appreciate your support. I think you get your money's worth with HCDA, so we thank you very much. And do you have any questions for us? No?
Fabulous.
Must be
Thank
doing a
you.
good job. Thanks.
Yeah, can we clone her?
What's that?
Can we clone you?
I know, right?
Next, daycare committee update.
Well, I'll start it off and Alyssa can add to it and Jim can as well. The daycare committee met recently and they felt that they would like to go in a different direction and get away from what was being considered at the fire station here. With that being said, the daycare is now going to be attached to the school. How that affects the city, it's positive in this manner. It might be the better landing spot for this thing in the future, being attached with the school, long-term. Also, the city will not be obligated with general obligation debt, TIF debt for that, so that is a positive. There has been some discussion that a 2080 agreement will be set up with the different entities to allow them to participate with that, but there's gonna be more information coming as things move forward. So I just wanted to let the council know that what you were considering about $300,000 debt issuance through TIF, that's now off the table. So that is a benefit to the community. Do you guys have anything to add?
I don't think so. I mean, to be honest, I'm sure that you all read the paper, and so that's where we are today. As I mentioned in my report, this is a very important project, not only to Humboldt County Development in terms of workforce recruitment and retention, but to the community. I've obviously, as you know, been here for 6 years, and I think this is the first display of a project that truly encompasses the entire community. There is a significant benefit to the community, to the county, to the citizens, to the workforce that we have here. So that what you read in the paper really is, that's where we're at. Just a few weeks ago, we took a harder look at our strategy and our long-term goals and where we wanted to be and the impact that we wanted to make, and we did make the decision to add a standalone facility connected to MEAPS, so.
And the one other thing that was discussed during the initial meeting that I was at, if you get away from considering the fire department, the old fire department building as an option, we are going to use TIF funding for that. TIF rules probably are going to be changing this year, so if they wanted to come back and explore that option, that financing mechanism more than likely will not be there, and the daycare board understood that as well. So once we made the change, it's moving away from this completely.
We've been talking about this for 2 years plus, it seems, and there's a great need here. It'd be one thing we would be talking about this if the private sector was meeting the need, but you even talk to the private sector, the private daycares today, they're getting 5-6 calls a day looking for adequate daycare. Especially the school and the hospital, their employees, they're constantly being asked, where can we get daycare? So it's definitely a community need. We've done our due diligence. We've talked to communities surrounding Humboldt. They all have daycare centers. I'll just use this as an example. You know, if, it's so hard to find a primary daycare, once you find them, but if they're sick or their child's sick and you have to find a backup, it's even that much tougher to find a backup. You know, daycare center, you meet that need. So, just like other infrastructure and amenities in this community, I think a daycare is very important for the future of Humboldt. So, we're looking for your support in the future.
Well, I think it says a lot for you to be commended upon for listening to the concerns that were in the community and then, you know, kind of reanalyzing what your plan was initially and then recognizing that maybe that wasn't the best solution. And then now I do think, you know, that you've recognized that and have a great
Right.
location now and have utilized some more partnerships and build relationships there, so
Yeah, you know, and
I think it's been really successful that way, and you guys did a great job of, rather than having tunnel vision and being locked on one facility, to be able to step back and look at it and say, hey, look, maybe there is some changes that need to be taking place,
Well, and I
so.
think that's the essence of the project. So all of us sitting around that table do not benefit individually from the creation of a daycare center. So that's the point of the project, right? So the community spoke up and said, you know what, I'm not wild about that. All right, well, we'll take a second look. We certainly, we don't, there's no personal vested interest for us. So, you know, the other thing, in speaking with the supervisors this morning, we need to service the largest number of children that we can in the shortest amount of time. And so how do you do that? I mean, we've looked, you guys have been part of this with us, we've looked at different options for years. And a daycare center is the easiest, quickest way to service the largest number of children. So, you know, the location of it, I think, needs to fit. And when we look at, the theory is that we continue to grow and we recruit businesses and we have projects that expand and as they bring in more people, could we need additional daycare services? There's no expansion possibility of the former fire station. So a number of things that played into that, you're absolutely right, but that's the point of the project. It is about the community.
We talk about childcare or daycare, but it's really childcare, and along that lines and in cooperation with the school system, you know, it's gonna be a learning center as well. A lot of the daycares today are incorporating a lot of learning for those preschool type childcare individuals. So their learning is just not watching them for the day, it's helping them to learn and prepare for the future, so.
But I think the location was probably the key. I think there was less of an argument
Yep.
on either side about the need